Hello. It's Dirty Truck and Dirty Truck, and I'm gonna make this video real quick. It's 10:41. I'm about to get started, and this unfortunate shit is going on with this bank. I don't know what the fuck is going on with it. Huntington Bank and this Hertz rental car shit. But what I've discovered, this is the biggest money theft scam I've ever seen before in my life. You're not gonna cover it up as a mistake. It wasn't an accident. You knew what you were doing. What I do know is that when I first got here doing this Uber shit, they were not emailing you invoices when you extended the vehicle. That started, oh man, I want to say back in 24 maybe that started. It might have been maybe tail end of 23. I can't remember exactly when it started, but I was not getting emails of the invoice. That recently started, and I believe it started because of the complaints and this additional money that was coming out of the account. And so all of a sudden that started. They started making some changes. So, but what I see is going on here, that they are stealing money off of invoices that they should not be sending back into the bank. These are fraudulent invoices. You date the invoice the current date, but they're trying to get money from a week that you had a rental car that 4 months ago. Mine was 4 months ago. That 30114 was for a rental car 4 months ago in a totally different car. So here's the thing. They work at these banks. And now I don't know. Now they have explained the merchant process to me. And I'm going to repeat that to you. And if you don't hear the scam and know how to catch these people, after all this shit I done said, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe we need to switch positions. I need to be the investigator, and you can drive for Uber. Maybe that way that need to go. So let me tell you again. The bank informed me that when a merchant sends in a transaction, you use your debit card, beep, you made a purchase. Okay, most transactions come out immediately. They come out of your transaction list. It's already debited from your amount. But now, as far as it actually finalizing out of your account, it shows pending. Some of it come out immediate, depending on where you go. It comes out immediate, and some of them it may take a day or two for it to post. Now, that's where this comes in with the Hertz rental car. The posting of it. It shows pending. Now, the pending part is the processing on the bank's part. Now, I don't know if you got a robot processing this shit, your computer is processing this shit, or you just got somebody at home not processing this shit, or they're supposed to be processing this shit. But that's why it shows pending. It hasn't been processed yet. And whoever is responsible, we have to find out who's responsible for processing these transactions, because that's what's taking so long for them to end up posting to the account. It didn't take this long before. When I first got to the Uber, it wasn't doing this shit. This shit started back when I had that Toyota, and that shit came up when they end up billing me those extra days because I had to change my debit card because they went back in the account and took that additional money. All of a sudden, they started making all these changes the way they do things around here. So, let me explain the merchant process again. I debited my card with Hertz. It's automatically subtracted from my balance. It shows pending until posted. That means they haven't fully completed the transaction. Now, if that transaction completes, it will show completed down in your transaction list. But now, if it don't complete, it's going to fall off. When it falls off, that amount they debited should go back into your balance. That was another problem I was seeing. I was not seeing the money go back in the balance. And then I forgot that my alerts for money going into my account or out of my account over $50 was coming to my email. So I had to check the email. But on that money, when it falls off, I never saw it go back into the account. So after I started complaining about it, I had to watch it carefully with that 305. That 305 was a double payment. So I watched my account carefully to make sure that actually went back into my account. When it fell off and it went back into the account. It's the 30114 that they used, that fraudulent invoice that we're dealing with right now. That invoice is fraudulent. Because the merchant process at my bank, they said they have 45 days to resend a transaction in if it falls off. if the transaction is not completed. But see, here's the thing. There's something suspicious about that. I don't know a merchant that will sit up there and you go make a purchase with your debit card and they don't complete the transaction. Come on now. I mean, if they want me to be stupid or think I'm stupid, we're dealing with a rental car service here. What rental car service does not finalize your debit card purchase immediately? Now, when you get the card, they debit it. It's supposed to post to your account in a transaction, but it's the posting part. Now, here it hurts. They got transactions that's falling off, and then they will resend it in. That's where the scam come in at. When they resend it in, and why were they falling off? Why weren't the transactions being completed? Is that on the bank's end? Or that on Hertz it? Because when I talked to the bank said Hertz wasn't finalizing it. That's why it fell off. And then when it fall off, you be out here doing your day-to-day activity, making debits and transactions out of your account. Then all of a sudden, this charge for your rental car, $300-something come out your account. You look on it, you overdrawn. But you thought they got it already. But here they come with this story, it fell off. And then they send it back in. Here's the scam. They're sending in transactions they should not be getting. 4 months ago, you sent an invoice to my email with this year's current date of January, I think it was January 27th, 28th, I think it was dated, something like that. But you were trying to get $301.14 for the week of 9/23 to 9/27, something like that, back in September. That is well past the bank's 45-day merchant policy. So when that customer service rep at Huntington told me, don't blame the bank, don't blame them, he was incorrect. I 100% have to blame the bank because you didn't catch this. Now, you didn't catch that a merchant, and I'm like, how would they catch that? Because they sent a charge in with January 25th's date, making the bank think this is something this year, but it's not. Now, I don't know, they would have to do an investigation to find out exactly what was sent over to the bank. Far as this transaction, when it's made, do they get some type of invoice? Do they get the same invoice I got? Evidently not, because they asked me for the invoice. They just sent a transaction in. So here's the scam part. They let the transaction fall off, and they wait months because they won't do it recent because they'll get caught. I'm gonna peep that. They ain't gonna do that shit real recent. They'll get caught doing it. Now they tempted it with that double charge. They get caught. It's too recent. Everybody on it. Everybody watching it. They gonna go to a transaction from back months ago when they think you forgot about it. When you had another vehicle, maybe the same vehicle. They will send an invoice to you and collect on it. But this is for a week that you already paid. And the bank shouldn't be paying it because it's well past the 45 days. So the bank is 100% at fault. The bank fucked up. The bank and they personnel, their employees, whoever processes this shit, set up there, aided and abetted a fraudulent invoice coming in and took money out of my account. You did not catch that they were sending in fraudulent transactions, and I know they knew about it because I spoke directly to the the dispute resolution team supervisor, transaction dispute team supervisor. I spoke directly to her, and she enlightened me with that information. She told me about the merchant process, that 45 days shit, and then their investigation process could take 90 days. No, you're not going to take 90 days and keep allowing these motherfuckers to steal my money because you're not doing an investigation. Based on what I have found out, I could have solved this shit in a matter of days and had somebody arrested. But you didn't. You sit there and they let them people keep stealing out of my bank account. I don't know who was using Apple Pay. They didn't tell me nothing about that. Who used Apple Pay and took that money out of my account? Now they sending invoices taking money out of my account. So here's where the customer service rep lied yesterday. I asked her, why did they reverse the money back out of my account? See, this happened once before. And I'm going to tell you when all this stuff, when I remember this stuff started, it was a news story here. But I'm finna get sidetracked. Talk to a customer service rep at Huntington Bank yesterday. I asked her, why did the money reverse back out of my account? That money was paid. It's showing paid on my transaction. She said, I'm just now looking into this. Let me give you a little history on it. I don't need your history lesson on a transaction dispute that I filed. I know when it happened. I know when I filed it. I know the timeline of everything. What is the bank doing about it? I mean, fast forward and tell me why the fuck. She said, we sent you letters. I'm not reading them bullshit letters. And I got something to say about them letters when I get to that part. I'm not going to read that nonsense. They had no business taking that money out of my account. Because I pulled my transactions from September and it shows paid on 9/25. So let me tell you where she lied at. She told me, well, they're lying. The bank is lying, rather. Not her per se, because she didn't write the letter. Now, unless her name is on the letterhead, she didn't write the letter. So this is where the bank lying. I caught the bank lying yesterday. They're gaslighting me. Look it up if you don't know what gaslighting is. Everybody is gaslighting about this shit. So she tells me that the letter reads that they reversed the transaction because they don't see where it was paid out of my account. Wow. Now, if you refer back to a video when I called, sitting at that truck stop saying I just got out of a heated dispute with the supervisor, I mentioned in that video that the supervisor said she saw the transaction. And then she also told me something further. She kept asking me, do I have some 600 number on the invoice? I said, no. I said, what would that be? What is that? She said, I do see the transaction that you're saying that you came out in September. She saw that on my account. She saw that. This is the supervisor said that. And their calls are recorded. They better remember that. While you sitting out here gaslighting and lying. And if that call mysteriously gets deleted or erased and you can't find it, we gonna know why. So, here's the thing. Now, she went a step further. She told me about the 45 days. Then she said, I see the transaction. But she says, what I do see here is that when they resent the money in, it came in under a different number. So I asked her, well, why did you pay it? See, when a merchant sends in a transaction, the bank attaches some sort of number to it. Whatever that number means, it's just the bank. That's the bank number. Let's call it the bank number. The bank attaches their number to that transaction that came in. That's how they keep record of things. Now, say the merchant didn't finalize the transaction and the transaction fell off. The bank gives that merchant 45 days to resend that money, send that transaction in to get their money. Or if they don't, they're not going to get it if they don't do it in 45 days. So, what she said she saw is that when Hertz, or whoever this is using Hertz, if this is Hertz, I don't know who the fuck this is, but they're using the name Hertz, sent that money back in. And it's got to be Hertz because you use the invoices. When they sent that money back in, it came in under a different number. Which means this can't be the original invoice when it came in. That means it was already paid. That's why it has a totally different number. It came in a new number because they changed the date on the invoice. Because had they kept the date the same as when that charge took place in September, the bank would have caught that it was already paid. See? But the customer service rep tells me they reversed the charges out of my account because they didn't see where it was paid. How you gonna sit there and tell me they sent me a letter saying they didn't see where it was paid? So here's the thing about the letters. I didn't open them. Left them in my apartment. You know they be going in my apartment. So what if somebody came in the apartment, switched the letter, it's still not open. And then the bank gets on the phone, start telling me they reversed it because they don't see where it was paid. Thinking that everything done vanished. But the bank didn't know. I told the bank representative, I said, you better watch where you go, what you say to me this point forward. Because let me tell you something. I reported this to the Detroit police about this 30114 coming out of my account and that invoice. I went down to the police station with this in my hand. You know what this is? That's my bank statement for September, showing the transaction was paid. The officer, the detective, wasn't an officer. I asked to speak to the detective that was handling the case about the 580 came out my account. She came out. I told him what was doing. I showed her what I had. I showed her everything. She said, I believe she said, did she say, let me see what was paid? Or something. And, you know, I'm finna throw something out there that's finna make them scurry and worry and get afraid. I'm gonna let them figure out if it's true or not. I don't remember if the detective may have made a copy of the statement when I went in there, showing that the transaction was paid. I don't remember if the detective... See, if you want to catch somebody, you got to throw something out there to catch them. So I don't remember if that detective made a copy, because I remember we were standing there and she wanted to see everything, and in the heat of the moment, I'm just frustrated because they done took all my money. And I don't remember if she asked me, can I get a copy of these? And she said she was going to contact the bank. She said she was going to contact the bank, because when she contacted the bank, my money ended up getting back in my account. But it was supposed to go back in my account, but it got back in there sooner. I don't know if the officer called or what, but they reversed it back out. The bank did this. This ain't Hertz. The bank did this. The bank violated their own policy. They allowed a merchant to send in a fraudulent invoice. They didn't catch it, that it was fraudulent, and they allowed them to take money out of my account. And the bank is not taking responsibility of what they've done. The bank did this. Huntington Bank did this. I believe Huntington Bank and Hertz Rental Car and this Uber shit, this shit is all connected. They keep saying it was Hertz. It ain't just Hertz. The bank is letting them take this money out. This is a merchant resending in transactions from 4 months ago, but the bank paid it. So when the investigation go down, what we're going to have to do here, I would like to know how many of their customer service reps, can they look up the customer service reps that's affiliated with that bank? Can they narrow down their search list to find out how many of them live here in Detroit, the Detroit area, and if any of them live in my apartment building? They also need to do it with Hertz. Is any Hertz phone customer service reps? Do they live here in Detroit? Do they live here in my building? This is a big time operation, and they've been stealing. And I'm gonna tell you when this shit coming out of accounts started. A couple of years ago, was shopping at Myers on Jefferson. That's when this shit started. I was still with Chase then. That's why my account ended up closing at Chase, because Hertz sent in a transaction that they claimed they didn't get, and it overdrawed my account. And before I can get all the money paid from the overdrawn, they closed the account. That's what happened to me at Chase. Hertz sent in a transaction talking about they weren't paid, and Chase paid it, and it overdrawed my account. So the account ended up closed by the bank because I didn't get all the money in time while I was paying to get the money in. Because, you know, when you steal my money, that means I ain't got no money. See, you stealing my money and thinking I'm supposed to produce some money from somewhere else. I don't have no money. I'm not made of money. I'm working every day to get this money. So that's what happened to me at Chase. The exact same thing, and it was Hertz. So, let me jump forward to a customer real quick. Had a writer in here yesterday. Lady, she banks at Chase. We happened to get on the subject of these banks, and she told me she got some money stolen from her. Same thing happened to her. Then this is recent. She said she'd been in that bank for the past 2 days. $2,700 was stolen out of her bank account. $2,700 was stolen out of her bank account at Chase. She went to the bank. She said the bank can't tell her how it was taken out. They can't tell her if it was debited or if it was electronic check or did somebody do a withdrawal. It doesn't show. She said Chase Bank don't know how $2,700 was taken out of her account. This is a passenger that was in the car yesterday. This is a true story. She says she filed a police report. She lives here in Detroit. So the police report is with Detroit police. Also, I told her to call it Federal Trade Commission, file a report there, and with the state attorney general. Her amount is so large. I said, and go on the IC3 Computer Crimes website. Her amount, $2,700, and the bank don't know how they did it. You supposed to be able to click on a transaction that's completed and see how it was made. It was a debit or check, something. You're supposed to see how that transaction was made. She said she done been to the bank twice, and they can't tell her how the money came out. She said, we see it came out, but we don't know how it came out. These motherfuckers is lying. It's something they got going on. They stealing money out of people's banks. And back to my story, when I noticed this started. A couple years back, I'm still standing at this. I moved in this apartment here. Was shopping at Myers. Myers had some fiasco going on to where the customers that shopped there that day end up getting double charged. There was a news story. Look it up. Now this is when I can trace this back to the beginning. There was a news story telling everybody to check your bank accounts that Myers had been double charging people. People were being double charged as much as $1,000 twice for shopping at Myers. And I had just shopped at Myers. When I shopped there that day, the guy told me I couldn't use my debit card. The machine was down. You had to use cash. So I had to go over to the ATM and get cash and pay for my transaction. And then I get home and I see this news story. Sure enough, I go on my account, and what do I see? The guy that worked at the registered self-checkout area told me the debit thing on the machine self-scan didn't work. That was a lie. It did work. And that transaction actually came out. So I ended up contacting my bank. I remember I got an African guy on the phone. And they said the bank was already aware of it because it was on the news. I said, do I need to send in my receipt? He said, no, but I sent it in anyway. And we already aware of it. We're going to put the money back in your account. So when I finally get the money back in the account, they did to me what Huntington Bank just did. Do you know them bastards put the money back in my account? This is Chase Bank did this. And then they reversed it back out. I was still driving trucks then. I had to drive the truck all the way up to the nearest Chase Bank. The one I went to was over there on Michigan Avenue. Drove the truck up there because I got their customer service reps on the phone, and they were lying. They say they don't see where you send in the receipt. They told me I didn't need the receipt because it's been a local news story. I said, they told me that transaction, the machine I used, debit card wasn't working. But actually, it did work. The charge did go through. But I ended up going to the ATM and paying cash for that food. I had my receipt where I paid cash. I sent in the receipt where I paid cash. Because the guy at Myers on Jefferson told me the machine not take a debit. You got to pay cash. Everybody was leaving their stuff there because they walked out the store. I went to use the ATM over there. It was a line in the ATM over there. So that's when I remember this double charging shit started. It was something that happened with Myers. So Chase Bank reversed that money out of my account that I paid. That came off my debit card that shouldn't have came off because I ended up paying for that transaction in cash. Because it actually processed when it shouldn't have processed because the guy said it wasn't working. But it did work. So I went into the bank. They called the department that's supposed to handle this. They talking about they don't see where I sent this. I shouldn't have been needing to send anything. It was a local news story. I shopped at Myers and they double charged me. I ended up paying cash for that transaction. But luckily, I had the message still on my phone through the Chase Bank account that I sent to them. And I went into the branch, went into the room, and the branch manager came in there. And he saw it and I showed it to him. And they got these people on the phone. He said, I'm going to give you your money back because I see you're not lying here and I see this. I don't know why they're telling you that. All of a sudden, they started doing like Huntington Bank told me. They'll start telling you they don't see shit. They can't find this. Chase Bank did the same shit. This is a big time operation working here. And they stealing money left and fucking right. And now back to the letters at the apartment. You know how they switch things. What if they came in that apartment and switched the letter to say that they reversed it out? Maybe the original letter had I opened it said, we found out that this was a fraudulent invoice and the money will be permanently in your account. What if that's what the original letter said? I didn't open it. Left it laying there in my living room on top of my journals that they switched. My journal they switched. So the bank telling me they don't see the transaction. What if they came in there and just replaced the letter? Because they good with doing that. Replacing shit to make it look like it came from the people it came from. What if they replaced the letter to say what the woman told me on the phone? We reversed it because we don't see where the transaction was paid. Because she was on the phone talking about the dates and the letter. We sent you a letter. You need to want to know the dates. No, you tell me the dates. Since you know the letters, tell me where I got them at in my apartment. Tell me if I opened the letters or not. Tell me a lot of shit you seem to know that you shouldn't be knowing. Just keep mentioning me about the letters of the dates and all this shit. It's because they know they were switched. This is a big time theft operation. This bank is involved with it. And Huntington is directly involved with it. Hertz is involved with it. I just don't know who's doing it. And I don't know if this resulted from this illegal entry in my apartment, getting access, or from me using my debit card at Hertz, at Huntington. I mean, at Hertz. Or when that guy was pretending he worked for Hertz, trying to get my information. He did get the debit card. He did get the debit card, but he wasn't able to get the money. He wasn't able to get the money. I ended up ordering a new debit card, had the same card number, different CVV code. And that money he didn't get mysteriously started coming out after I went into the location, the Hertz rental car location. Now, if they don't know that this is stealing going on, oh, I forgot to tell you about what I discovered about the invoice. Hertz kept telling me that they bill from a week prior. And they use that as an excuse why they be saying the money just came out. This was from last week. No, it's not. No, it's not. This shit started when they started sending these invoices. And I just discovered something. There's no way in hell you could be saying that you billed from a week prior. For that to take place, that means you would have to let me drive a rental car a whole week free and then bill me at the end of the week for you to say you were billing from a week prior. All rental cars bill you for having the rental car from the day you go in there forward, not backwards. I'm going to whisper this to you because they watching this video and they probably going to try to change stuff after I disclose this. Come here. I looked at my invoice from when they extended the car last week. The invoice is not dated. The week is not for that current week. It's for the week prior. That's how they've been stealing the money. You created invoices that are sent into my email for a prior week you've already collected for. And then you stealing that money. You getting an extra $300 off of me. And it's through the invoice. But I ain't tell you that. How can a rental car service bill you for the week prior? It's impossible. All rental car services bill you for the number of days you finna have it from the day you come in there. I cannot call a rental car and rent a car and tell me, let me drive it 7 days and pay you on the 7th day. That's the only way you can bill a week prior. Because on that 7th day, you'll be billing me for when I first got it up until the 7th day. They don't do that. The scam is in the invoices. The scam is with the motherfucker calling pretending they work for Uber. The scam is in the bank. This is a big time operation. They're operating here. And they need to get caught because I'm tired of them stealing from my bank. But don't tell nobody I told you that. These invoices are from a week prior. When they extend the rental on Friday. When they extend the rental on Friday, it's supposed to extend the rental from that Friday to the upcoming Friday. That's not what the invoice says. The invoice, when I extend the rental from Friday, it's from the week prior. And all their customer service is trained to tell you, we bill a week prior. This from last week. No, it's not. That's what the invoice says. Somebody rigged it for the invoice to make it look like this is from last week. And there's no way in hell that this rental car could be billing from a week prior. Nobody has caught that. I keep telling you, this is the biggest scam operation. And they are stealing more and more money from people at the bank. You stole from me way too many times. And if the police, FBI, the Secret Service, I don't do anything, and whoever regulates these banks, this shit ain't gonna stop. I stopped leaving the full amount of the rental. I stopped putting my money in the bank, and they still stole it. When they reversed that money back out, the bank, I didn't have enough in there to cover that reverse money. But because the bank credited that money, they set up and reversed the money back out of my account and caused my account to be overdrawn $100. So when I put my earnings in yesterday, it took $100 from my earnings. The bank is stealing from me. The bank did this. The bank has not owned up to their responsibility for doing this. The bank needs to put my money back in my account, and they need to put it back now.